I want you out of my bedroom. Ah! Ah! I killed him, okay? Skit's over. Okay, cut! Dude, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? You just killed our lead.
He was taking too long.
That's not the point, man, okay? You do this shit all the time. I gave you work. I gave you an opportunity to be the fucking Leonardo DiCaprio to my Martin Scorsese, and you fuck everything up, as usual. I know that your mother and your father were on food stamps when you were coming up, but that's no excuse for you not to have a sound education. You're an idiot. You're useless. You have no value in this workforce, in this community. Do you know how long I've had to work? Why are you pointing your gun at me? How long I've had to work at... Nah, man, you always was good at talking shit. Now look at you, on your knees, like a bitch. I gave you a job. I'm finishing you.
I'm still alive.
Man, shut your dumb ass up, man. Shut your bitch ass up. What's wrong with you? I'm so always talking shit too. Stupid bitch. How you gonna be in your predicament and still want to talk shit? Exactly, right? Yeah, but I'm still about to kill your ass. Wait, what?
So Denzel Curry is dropping his new album called ZUU today, and I'm hearing it live from the dungeon, the music dungeon. I don't expect too much from this project, it being so closely released to Taboo, not even a year apart. I don't really know how much we're gonna get as far as content, concept, subject, and everything like that, but I'm hoping I could take a good amount of songs away from this project and still be satisfied. With its runtime and the real lack of any kind of like rollout for this project, I don't really have too much faith that it's gonna be like amazing. But I mean, he could surprise me. The singles we've gotten so far have been pretty good. Speedboat I like, but Ricky, definitely that extremely energetic, slightly West Coast, slightly Houston, all Curry kind of fusion. Somber prayer and hope to keep what, you know, he's attained on Speedboat. I think it's just led me to believe that he's really in his mental on this, reflecting, going back and looking at the things that he's come from. So like I said, my expectations aren't that high for this thing. He's not gonna trick me on this one. You're not about to just hit me with a whole album of fire. It's just not, it's not what's about to happen. But we got the first track, ZUU. The intro of this reminds me of that YB and Corday, Have Mercy.
And you know the face is blue. Sugar sick as fuck, it's like I'm walking.
Shit!
Oh yeah. In the cut like Gillette, where they serving don't protect.
Oh my god.
Now you on your style.
I like that he's getting into melody a little bit more, just because you can't be abrasive and just in your face all the time. I really enjoyed that about Clout Cobain from last year. I just liked that it was just a little bit more melodic, had a little bit more flavor vocally. He was in his singing element a little bit more. One of the reasons Drake is just a guilty pleasure for so many people is because he's not afraid to go into those softer elements of his voice, those softer, higher tones. I think if more artists did that, it would make their music so much more playable.
Carol City raised me. Trick said I'm a thug. Get full of
That hook is great. Why are you hating?
Coming out the zoo. It's Mr. Rick.
And the next track is Ricky. We've already heard Ricky, but the first track is cool, man. Like it's really like nostalgic. He's telling you where he's coming from, Carol City, Florida, like what raised him, what brought him up, and we coming out the zoo. Like where I live is basically the jungle. It's animal territory. Kill or be killed type environment is what he's trying to allude to on this track. For some odd reason, this got cut out of the video, but also this track emphasizes his issue with police and how they treat people in his environment like animals. It's a zoo not only because that's where he comes from and that's where he has to live, but it's a zoo because this is how outsiders look at us. He mentions multiple times in this track how they get paid to deliver and serve, but without protecting. Ricky is another track that's emphasis on everything and rules and guidelines coming up. Very reflective track, just like the first one. So the next track is Wish. I know that's a lot Lakeside he's sampling, is it?
The block, no, them is not watered. And I keep a Glock, nah, it's a Glock 40. I'ma take her home, only using one line.
What the fuck? Hey, this is green. Alright, we can stop with these detergent and clean lines. Yeah, so again on this track, you know, he's talking about missing his homies, missing his family, missing the things that brought him up. Very nostalgic album so far from what I can tell. It seems like he misses home, basically. It seems like he wants to go back, or, you know, he's reflecting on his environment now that he's away from it. That track was pretty cool as far as its catchiness. I wasn't expecting it to be catchy once I heard the intro. I don't know if he's sampling Lakeside in the very beginning. I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong. It's got a bit of a groove to it, a bit of a rhythm almost, and it's almost like a rhythm I would expect from West Coast music. So that's why I was a little surprised to hear him do a track like this. Track number 4 is BIRDZ featuring Rick Ross.
Let's start it over. Eye of Jehovah. Come take a look at my city and its culture. City.
No. I need some more water. Hold up. I need some more water.
I don't know what happened, but this instrumental got your boy feeling a little parched. Like, did you hear how this man was flowing on this shit? I'll clean it up later.
He didn't clean it up. It's like a siren in the background in this distorted ass bass. This track sounds like when your antivirus software starts acting up and giving you notifications. How is Rick Ross gonna come on here? Oh my God! Dude, what the fuck is this? Be quiet. This is just different. Dude, it's like an alarm and it...
Trying to run game. We won't be none. Don't speak, don't hear, and don't see none.
Won't be none.
See the limo and never know it's him.
Ross sounds amazing.
On the bung, it make me feel angelic. This, I bet you clean your room.
Yo, they're both annihilating this.
Won't be none. Don't speak, don't.
He's got another verse.
Pray I keep it all at the Sunday service. Make compost of my enemies.
Ah, man, that is easily one of the greatest tracks in my entire existence. I'm gonna just go ahead and say I don't think that was necessary what the fuck he just did on that track. I thought Rick Ross was gonna come in and not know where to go, but he knew exactly where to hang. Him having that really just like slow, laid back kind of tone while he's rapping. It's always intense, but just when paired with the right production, it sounds like two dictators almost telling you the rules of the city that they're from, and you can't abide by any other law, and if you do, like that shit in the back, and that shit in the back is like the alarms letting you know like somebody just did some green shit, basically is what he's trying to say. It's like the alarms have now been sounded off because somebody on some fuck shit entered the city or something. It's weird, but it's rhythmic and it's catchy despite how alarming the track is. It's like the bass falls and then spreads on this track. This next track has Tay Keith on production.
Hey, Keith, fuck these niggas up.
Me, I'm niggas.
I done have it. All my niggas running shit like it was magic. Now you a lick like a stamp, huh? You don't wanna go round with the champ, huh? No green, it's my time to blow. Now I be Diddy making bands. See, Biddy's in my hand.
That track was alright. Lyrically, like I said, it's more of the story of his come up, talking about his motivations for why he wanted to get money, start earning money, get revenue, talking about how he can't go back and he can't revert, he needs to stay on top, he needs to keep growing more, keep getting these accolades, these wins. I wouldn't necessarily say this track is anything like when it comes to describing something that's like specific to him. I don't think it's like that hard. And also production, I feel, is kind of wasted on this track because it's just kind of standard trap beat. Like it's nothing. It's a little warped. I don't really feel like the chorus or the hook leads up to anything crazy. He could really just have spit this entire thing and it just been one really just long verse. But I definitely did think for a track that had Tay Keith on the production that it would be something a little bit more, I won't say on the experimental side, but a little bit more off kilter. Track number 7 is Bushy B Interlude.
Now you wanna talk cause the boy shining, bobbing, popping, cross toppers, in the drop top, cross toppers, in the drop top,
Now that Bushy B Interlude, to me, on an album that's not really that long, you should really only include tracks that I feel like are really hard, but I think this track really helps to emphasize that homesick idea. Because I think for this track specifically, I can easily picture myself like in a club, drinking, women twerking, shaking ass everywhere. It's drinks popping, bottles popping, and everything like that. And I'm just sitting here like, I miss home. Like, this track here is just really easy to get lost in. It's really easy to vibe through, and I think that's kind of done purposefully to kind of show that, like, it's really easy to get comfortable in this moment, really easy to get comfortable in this environment. He opens it up by saying, you know, you weren't with me from the beginning, you know, so clearly he's not at home right now. Clearly he's somewhere else. Track number 8 is Yo.
Listen to the nigga talk. Just wait.
Yo.
We need 2 bottles to rock.
Yo.
I told you. We got you. Yo.
I know, that's so funny. Okay, now that's funny because everybody has like their area where they talk a certain way to certain people. You don't really have to say much, but you just instantly know what people mean. And that shit is hilarious because he's talking to this dude that says one word the entire time and the communication is completely understood on both sides. That might be something that's a little bit more, you know, native to Florida, but even up here in Detroit, like, it's a certain way that you could talk to people on the phone. It's just like, we don't have to say more than like 2 sentences and you just know this is what you got to do. This is it. Like, that communication is just so funny. Again, with the way people talk, I think he probably misses that as well. So it is pretty homesick project so far. Track number 9 is CAROLMART.
The most beautiful place in the world, homie. Look at all these.
This sounds very south in Houston right now.
I was raised off a Trina tree, red and plies. When it comes
Yeah, it sounds like that.
Leave that boy flat, all black, make the back.
This is nuts. Yeah, this is South right here. This is nothing but Houston South music right here.
Cause they raid in the trap.
Raid. Get it? I'm too fresh. I don't know if they're using police sirens as a reference point for any of these tracks. That track right there, instrumentally in the background, you can kind of hear like these. Sounds like it was a xylophone in the background, behind the massive, intense bass of this track. And this track is also kind of reminiscent of BIRDZ with Rick Ross when it comes to that like siren-like instrumental. This track is very south, very southern, and I like how it's not just him saying that, you know, Florida is where I'm from, but I listened to music that influenced me while I was in Florida too, and that music came from more regions than just my own. But I hear Trina, I hear Ludacris, I hear some Trick Daddy influencing a lot of all this, so I can see what he's trying to say, what he's getting at. Track number 10 is Shake 88.
I got the racks, so bust the cheeks. Ain't the price, I pay the fee. You know, cause you a bad bitch and you know fuck with fleas.
Oh my
It's
God.
rule number 1, don't touch my
You want the man shots and want some level. You a bad bitch and you know fuck with fleas. Jumping down, pussy the
It's his name, Sam Sneak, because he sneaks on tracks. Yeah, that track is, you know, it's cool. It's definitely, like I said, southern influence. I can hear it. I just don't know if Denzel always has the charisma, just like that natural charisma of a southern rapper with his voice. Like, sometimes he does, and sometimes it's just okay. I think it was just the emphasis of bass here. Maybe I gotta hear it again. That was just like kind of losing me. I don't know if it's because it sounds like he's at the center of all that heavy bass when he's doing the hook, or if it's maybe a little bit of distortion or a little bit of like, it sounds like he's amplified or something like that. I don't know what it could be. Track number 11 is BLACKLAND 66.6. I'm assuming this is a radio station. Oh, that's dude's mixtape. Damn, Ronnie J, I knew it.
transmission, have your bands missing plans thinking when my bands speak. You was such a freak. Back up. Biggest fire was my I assume it's a chopper. Blooded niggas in a place that never snow. Will rob you. No tips cause it reflects what's in my soul.
Don't worry, my soul is empty too. Flow is nice. White boy got that energy. That grungy ass distorted bass, those drops. I think those are bagpipes that are being played. I'm not sure. That's got a very ominous, very heartless energy to it. I like it because it's reminiscent of what he used to kind of regularly put out. And I see a lot of people from Florida kind of emphasizing and embracing that style of making music, a little bit more heartless, a little bit more abrasive, a little bit more in your face, just embracing the energy of metal a little bit more in their music. I think it was a good way to end off the album as it comes to, or as it pertains to, the nostalgia that I feel like he's trying to push forward on this thing so far. But that was Denzel Curry's ZUU album, and I gotta say I enjoyed it. It's very telling of his background, where he was raised, the rules that he kind of abided by coming up. Not too much in the way of concept or ideology here, or trying to deliver a specific message, just more so in the way of trying to push forward the narrative that he misses where he's from. From ZUU to Ricky to Wish to BIRDZ to Automatic, which is just an okay track to me, not that great. Then we get Speedboat, Bushy B Interlude, Yo, which I think is pretty funny. I can say a lot of these tracks are very melodic. A lot of the other ones have a lot of energy, have this heartless, kind of cold-like demeanor, kind of like he's trying to describe the environment that he came from. It's almost as if energetically he's embraced a lifestyle he doesn't fully agree with to kind of push forward the narrative of this cold, heartless environment that he was coming up from. A lot of references to Southern hip-hop when it comes to the melody. You could even hear it on his last album with the intro of Taboo sounding kind of reminiscent of an Outkast in a way. Here it's a little bit more of the trap. It's a little bit more, like, I know a lot of people kind of confuse the term trap music with trap production, and they're not the same. You know, trap music is content. It's a certain way that you rap that's usually present in Southern music. Gangster rap and trap rap are not the same thing. You got gangster rap that originated in West Coast, trap rap that originated in the South. A lot of that energy on this project of trap rap that you might have gotten from a Trina, might have gotten from a Trick Daddy, might have gotten from a T.I., you can kind of hear it, the spirit, the inflection in a little bit of their voices, the song structure of some of these, like Ricky, like CAROLMART. Instrumentally, I don't think he crazily pushes the envelope or anything, but I do think he mixes himself in Southern hip hop and Florida hip hop, and kind of tries to kind of bend the energy that you might get from metal music into his music kind of well enough to form his own little fusion. As far as the drawbacks on this project, there are a good amount of interludes or tracks that are pretty short that do emphasize where he's from and kind of help to add to this homesick narrative, but I don't really know for sure if after you listen to them once, they're going to maintain replay value in the future. So maybe for one listener, they're cool, but maybe beyond that, you might not want to come back to them. Those being on an album that's already, you know, under 30 minutes, that's only 12 tracks long, may or may not be a great idea. Lyrically, we're not getting anything too crazy, nothing outside of what I think is within Denzel Curry's writing range when it comes to bars, lyrics, and any kind of content. Really all about the energy and the delivery on this album, which is really, really hard hitting to me, especially on tracks like BIRDZ, P.A.T, the melody that we get from him on tracks like ZUU, songs that I could actually picture being played on the radio or in party settings like Wish or Shake 88. Overall, I think he did a pretty good job with this project, him not giving himself much room to fuck up. I think he does perform well on most of these tracks. I do like that he embraces Southern hip hop, you know, in the tropes of it, kind of, on this project, but I don't really think he has like the direct charisma of a Southern hip hop artist, and sometimes I can make his performance in tracks that have some of those elements a little awkward. So I don't know if everybody likes that or if it's just me, but he does handle himself well. Like I said, the energy that he maintains on this album is really addictive. But yeah, that's how I'm feeling about it. Denzel Curry ZUU album. Thank you for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Let me know what your tracks were, your favorites, your least favorites, and yeah, I'll see y'all next time. This was a really good project to me, though. Like I surprisingly enjoyed this. But I'm out. Peace.